Hello students and other viewers, welcome to today's class. In the last class, we were able to discuss the loading and exiting of programs. And we also went further to discuss saving and retrieval of files. The program we used in the last class was Microsoft Excel, and the operating system was Windows 8. However, we went further to tell you how you can use Windows 7 and Windows 10 to accomplish the same task. In today's class, we are going to be discussing a continuation of the spreadsheet package. And remember, we said in the first class that one of the features of the spreadsheet package is the ribbon, especially Microsoft Excel, and that the ribbon is made up of tabs, groups, and commands. So under the tabs section of the ribbon, we have Home tab, we have Insert tab, we have Page Layout tab, we have the View tab, we have the Preview tab, and the rest of them. However, in today's class, we are going to be discussing the Home tab, which is like the first tab after File, using Office 2013 and above. After the file, you have the Home tab. Now, my name is Ehedu Chuks, and I remain your presenter. The subject is data processing. Okay, now we go to see the objectives of this class. In this class, we hope to be able to discuss the Home tab, copy, cut, and paste function, the font. You should be able to see different types of font, the font size, the font color, the field color, and the borders. We should be able to discuss the alignment, the number formats. We have to discuss also cell styles, insert and deleting of rows. These are more of formatting, and formatting the cell, AutoSum, field, clear, sort and filter, and then find and replace. These are basically the things we are going to be discussing in the course of this class. So the first things, I will just open that's the spreadsheet package we worked on in the last class with a couple of additions. Okay, now let's see copy, cut, and paste. Now remember, your keyboard shortcut key for copy is Ctrl+C. That's hold down Ctrl on the keyboard and then press C. Now for cut, you have Ctrl+X, and for paste, you have Ctrl+V. Okay, now I'm going to do something fast now. Let's try to practicalize the copy and the paste and the cut. Alright, however, before I do that, I should tell you that there's a difference between copy and cut. Copy is duplicating, while cut is moving. You move the file completely from one place to another. So you should get that. Copy is duplicating, while cut is removing entirely from a present location and taking it to another location. Okay, in this example, I'm going to copy the first person in our table, which is Idika Gift. I'm going to copy her details, everything from that first place, and put it on row number 12. How do I do that? The first thing you do is to select the things you want to copy, the cells you want to copy. This applies to Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, CorelDRAW, and the rest of it. So you have to select what you want to perform a particular task on. So let's say I'm going to pick the whole of row 2. I will simply select the first one first, make the active cell to be A2, hold the shift key down on the keyboard, hold it down, and then gradually tap your direction button, the one pointing to the right hand side. So when you do that, you should get something like this. Now you have told the program the areas you want to copy. Now I can use my keyboard shortcut key Ctrl+C, or I'll simply go. This is the Home tab. I forgot to tell you that this is the Home tab. This is the tab we're talking about today. We have other tabs like the Insert, the Page Layout, the Formulas, this and this. However, what we are discussing today is the Home tab. So you see that this copy, cut, and paste function are actually found on the group called clipboard. So this is the paste. Try to remember the icon, the image, or the icon that represents paste. It looks like a paper being held to a kind of what do they call it, a board. Now you have the cut, that's the scissor sign. You have the copy, two paper or two file icons. That's to show you that one is here and the other one is behind. And these are the things we'll talk about. So first of all, you highlight. Now if I'm going to use the mouse, I'm going to just simply click on copy. and you see the shortcut key there, Control C. However, if I don't want to if I don't want to use the mouse, I can simply use my keyboard and press Control C, and you see the selected area is now moving, or whatever you want to attribute it. You can see it on your screen. So after copying it, I can move to row 12 rather, and then paste, Control V. I hope you remember that. However, I'm not going to use Control V. I'm going to just click on this since it's already active. It wasn't active the first time because there was nothing copied, but once you copy, this becomes active. So I'll simply click on paste, and you see that it. Now to stop this from moving, you can simply click on escape and everything returns to normal. Now you can see that I have successfully copied Indica gift from row 2 and placed it on row 12. The same values, the same content. However, one is on 2 and the other one is on 12. That is copy. Alright, now having done this, I would now move Stephanie. I want to do the second one, which is cut. We have done the first and the last. Let's do the second one, which is cut. Cut, you move from one place without replacement. Now let's move the whole of the areas we have values on row 3 and cut it and then paste on row 13. So I will simply go there and then select the areas. Like I said, you can use your keyboard, you can also use the mouse. To do that, you just click on the first and then drag to the area. That's it. That's how you use the mouse. Good. Now I'll cut it, this, Control X, and then go to 13 and then paste this. Paste this. Now what do you observe? You see that row 3 is now empty because I cut the content of that row to 13. So that, excuse me, that's the difference between copy and then cut. So you should note that. Now let's see what we have next. The font size and the font size and font. Okay, now good. Now under the font, you have various fonts. You have the Time New Roman, you have the Arial, you have the. Now this is still on the Home tab. Under the group font, this is a group font. Now you click on this and you see a whole number of fonts. So use your scroll bar and then move down to find all the fonts that you can find here. You can even download more. Good. So these are the fonts. Now a question can say, I want you to apply Time New Roman font for this row, that's row 13, Time New Roman font, and then apply impact on row 6. Apply impact on row 6 and apply Time New Roman on row, let's change another row, row 11, where you have OKK Daniel. So I'll go to row 6, highlight it. You have to select it as highlight. Now this is we are applying Time New Roman here. If you can't trace it, if you can't move here, you simply type it on your keyboard, Time New Roman. That's it. So click on it, and you have applied Time New Roman to that. And the next one is to apply impact on the row 11, where you have OKK Daniel. So you go there and then type in impact. Good, that's impact. Click on it. Now you see that there's a difference between the font used here, the font used here, and the other font. Now this one has the Calibri. This one has on this. If you go here, you see the Calibri. Here you go, you have the Time New Roman font, and here you go, you have the impact font. So these are different fonts you can be told to apply when you're working on this. Example, I can say on the first row where you have the labels, use the, let's say, Algerian. So you highlight them and then use Algerian. So you see, that's it. Algerian is not too clear, so let's use the Cambria. Good. Cambria. Good. So you see, we have applied the font to these various required cells. Okay, now the size is the next thing. The size has to do with how bold, how legible the text or the content is, how bold or how legible what you have typed it will be. Good. Now, if you notice, this is on 11. This is the font and this is the font size. Now, somebody can say, because this is the heading or the label, let's make it font 18. And you have something like this, as big as this. Okay, let's reduce it. Font 16. So you select font 16, and then you see that some of the contents are already hidden. Remember how we expound it? Just double click on this, click on this, and it comes back to normal. So you see that the size of this is now bigger than the size of the others. Now a question can say you should now apply another font. Okay, let's now make all this, let's say apply font 14 to the rest of the body. So you simply do this and you see that the other part of the body become font 14. So that's the font size. So remember we started by talking about the copy and paste, and we went further to talk about the font size and font face. Good. Let's see the next thing, the difference between font color and fill color. Font color and fill color. Now, still on the font group, this is the font color and this is the fill color. Now, font color has to do with changing the color of what you typed, saving the color of, as in adding color to the typed text or numbers. Good. Now let's do that. Why the fill color has to do with the background it gives to it. The background, not necessarily the text, the font itself, but the background, what's under the text. So let's do something. Let's say the fill color, we're going to apply fill color to this heading, that is these labels. Now fill color, let's say fill color yellow. This is fill color yellow. Observe what happens. Fill color yellow. The font's color is still black, but the fill color is yellow. Now we want to change the font color to red. Will that pop very well? Okay, let's say red. Let's say red. Now you see that the text here, you have red, the reg number is in red, while the background is in yellow. So that's the difference between the font color, which is red, and the fill color, which is yellow. So try to note that the fill color is like the background. Just like before I draw something, I can decide to paint the cardboard sheet red and then use a black pencil to draw. So that black pencil I'm using to draw the shape is actually the font color, while the background that I've painted red, is the fill color, while the black pen I'm using to draw the actual image is the font color. So that is basically the difference between font color and then fill color. We proceed. Border. Let's talk about border. Border is actually the outline. When you say outline, it means the edge. The edge. So the cell now, you know the cell is like a box. Now the edge of the cell, if you want it to have a border, that is what we are now talking about. So to make this, let's now go to Samuel John Bosco. Now I'm going to highlight the whole of his details and records, and then I'm going to apply border to it. So simply go to this, still on the font group, go to borders, and then I'll select all borders. Now borders will appear both at the bottom, at the left, at the right, at the top. Now when you do that, this is what you see. Now, do you see any difference between row 9 and the others? Of course, you should see it. The borders have been applied. They are now thick there in that area compared to the others. The others have, but they're not as bold as that of row 9. So that's what you need to know about the border. Then you also remember you can add colors. You can decide to make your border to have a color, let's say red. Okay, let me highlight it and then make it red. Border color, can make it red, and see, applying that red, applying the red to the border. So you can do that by applying colors to the border. Then you can also make it thicker by doing this. Oh, sorry. See that the borders are now thicker than it was. So these are some of the things you can do with the border. You can make the borders thicker as the edge of the cell. You can apply color to them, and then you can make the lines thicker. Just the way you can do that is also the way you erase them. If you don't need them again, you remove them. So that's erasing. You are removing the borders. So assuming you applied it and you don't need it again, you can erase them. However, let's say we need it. I will now use Ctrl Z to undo all those stuffs and then put back our borders. So that's it. Okay, now let's go further to do some other things. Let's talk about the alignment. You can align left, you can align right, you can align top, middle, and the rest of them. How do you do that? Okay, let me expound anodes here. I'm going to expound the row. Good, so I'm having something like this. Now let's talk about alignment. Alignment is the next group there. Now, we have the top alignment, which moves this to the top. You can see that. You have the middle, it comes to the center. You have the center, you see that these are at the edge, they are close to this border, close to this border. Now, if you want them to be at the center of the text, you use this. If you want them to be at the left, you use this. If you want them to be at the right, you use this. So, let's say I want it to be at the top and at the middle. So that's how you can actually use the alignment. You also have the direction. You want the text to be. You can make it to be vertical. See the way they are arranged. You can make it to be in a slanting, so whatever you need to be, but I think I prefer it to be straight. Prefer it to be straight, so I'll just make this straight. Good. So that's it on the alignment. You can actually have your indent where you move to the left, you decrease the indent. You can see it's moving gradually, moving gradually. I don't need all this, I just want it to be at the center. So that's it. So that's what you can do with the alignment. Now let's go further to talk about the number format. Under the number format, you're going to find your date, your currency, your fraction, and the rest of them. Remember that what we did here was basically scores. However, we can decide to add dates of birth. So let's say if you want to insert a colon, you can actually insert a colon here. Let's say we want to insert a colon in between name and test, or in between reg number and student. You can simply move your cursor to the top of B, right click to give you options, and then click on insert. We'll do this much later, but let's say I want to apply dates. So I'll say date of birth. Good. Now, to this colon, I want it to be giving me dates. Dates, not numbers. Example, if as it is now, you look at this, it's on general. So it means I can type 2/2/2020. And it leaves it like that for me. I can also type 2, and it leaves it like that for me. I can type 2020, and it will just see the way you typed it. However, you can do it in such a way that anything you type there, it converts it to dates. How do you do that? Simply highlight the required, then go to the number under the number tab, and then you select, click on the drop down arrow, and then click on date. It could be short date, it could be long date. If you click on long date, it will give you a very long date, but short. So let's use the short date. So I can now say 12/27/1990. That's a date. Now, if I want it to be, if I just type 12, converts it to a date for me. So these are dates. Now, I can also use this to do something like a calendar. Example, this is July, or this is June. I can say 1st 2020. Good. Now let's use a long date so that this will be clear. Use a long date. Good. 1st of June. Now if I use the fill formatting tool, let's say this. Now I can go to series and then go to trend. Okay, and then see it. I have my dates: 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. So this can be my calendar. If I don't want to use, let's say I don't want to use it as date of birth, I could use it as a calendar. So, but for now, let's just take it as date of birth. So you see that everything in that column adjusts to the date of birth. Now let's insert another word and let's call it that the fraction. Let's just say fractions. Fractions. So this will now allow me, I will highlight the areas I need it to be, go here and then select fractions. So with this, I should be able to type in 1/2 or 1/3, 5/9, and it will accept it as fractions. That is how you can actually use the fraction part of this. Now currency, coming down to currency, let's say this is fees. Okay, and now we want to only have currency here, amount. So in order to get this very well, I will use this so that it gives me the full dialog box, and then I'll go to currency because we want to use Naira. Remember I said you go to the number group, go to currency. Now under symbols we want to use Nigerian Naira. So you simply click on this drop down arrow and then look for Naira. Scroll down and then look for Naira. We're not looking for dollars, we're looking for Naira because this is Nigeria. Now you are seeing many Naira. Let's just say Igbo Naira. They are all the same. Naira, Nigeria. Now after doing that, I click on OK. Now you see that whatever I type on this will give me the Naira sign. Example, 15,000. 20, or rather 37,000. You see that the Naira sign is automatically attached to this. So anything I type here, the computer sees it as money. Sees it as money. 5 Naira. 200 Naira. Sees it as money. Unlike this one that sees it as fraction. Anything you type here, it sees it as fraction. And anything you type here, it sees it as date. So these are different number formats that you can actually use. Now if I want to increase my number of decimal places here, I can simply use this. You see I'm reducing it from 2 decimal places to a whole number, or I can add my decimal numbers just using this and this. Now we go to the next one, which is the cell style. Cell style. Now we have done all this. Now let's add a little let's make it a little interesting. So how do you do that? You simply go to your cell styles and then choose any pattern you want here. Example, I can use this, and when I click on it, okay, let's highlight everything, and then font style, you can use this. You see while I'm applying it, it's changing, it's changing, it's changing, it's changing. So I can use this. So these are the font style. You can use it to add a little bounce to your work so that it looks a little attractive and uniform. So that is it about the cell styles. You can actually go and do more. So I will now talk about inserting and deleting of rows, inserting and deleting of rows and columns. I already showed you how to insert by clicking at the top. So if I want a cell to, if I want a row to be in between B and C, I can simply click on C, right click, and then click on insert, and it appears. Same thing happens if you want a row, click on this, and then insert, and it comes up. So you see the new row. So after creating the new row, or you can also come to this group called cell, and you can see the group called cell. You can go to insert and then select what you want to insert, a row on the sheet. If that's the case, yes. you see the row inserted. If you want to insert a colon on the sheet, and you see the colon inserted, so you can actually use that insert function to do that. Okay, now if you want to insert a cell, the same thing. However, if you want to insert a sheet, now let's talk about inserting a sheet. Now you can see we have sheet 1. You can actually click on this to add a new sheet like this, and you see the sheet 2, or you go to the cell, click on insert, then new sheet, and that's sheet 3. So these are the ways you can actually insert columns, insert cells, insert rows, and insert sheets. Okay, now let's talk about deleting. How do we delete rows? How do we delete columns? And how do we delete the sheets? Good. One of the ways to delete, this is a column. Let's make it 2. Start a column. Now I can delete this by clicking at the top, the way I added, right click, and then delete. That's one way. Another one is to go to the cells. Under delete, you click on sheet column, delete sheet column, and you see that's gone. The same thing happens if I want to delete my row. Click on this, right click, and then delete. Or you go to this, click on delete, and then delete row. Now let's delete a sheet. We have 3 sheets there. Let's say I want to delete sheet 3. Click on cell, delete, and then sheet. Sheet 3 is gone. So these are the ways you can insert, delete, and then insert, delete cells, rows, and then columns, including sheets. Okay, now formatting of cells. We have almost done everything you have to know about formatting of cells, which is from here. Formatting of cells. You can format the height, which I did earlier, but you can add values. So you use values. If there is a particular value, height value you need to use, you do that. If not, simply go in between and then drag and reduce. Good. So you can do that under format. Still under format, you can adjust your column. You can hide and unhide. So if you need to unhide a row or a column, just like on row 6 now, let's say we want to hide row 6, simply go there and you see it. Row 6 is hidden, so you see 5 and then 7. Then you can also unhide by going through the same procedure. You unhide row, and then you find row 6. So that is part of it. Under the hide, under the unhide, you can rename your sheets here. Now remember, auto fit and auto fit. If you use any of this, it will fit exactly to the contents of that row or that column. So if you don't want it to be too wide or too small, you can use the auto fit. So as you're typing, it adjusts to the size. Okay, now renaming of sheets. You can rename your sheet here. Example, you can say after clicking on this is highlighted. I can say sample. I can also come here, right click, and then rename. Or I'll just double click on this and then rename. So these are various ways you can actually rename your sheet. Okay, so there is nothing more under cell formatting that you have not done. Next is to protect your sheet, unlock your cell, and then get a full function on cells as we have done before. I will treat the protection of cells in some other class. However, that is the much we can take on formatting of cells. Now we go to the next one, which is AutoSum. Go to the next one, which is AutoSum under editing. All right, let's now talk about AutoSum fill, clear, sort, and filter. Now, how do you sum automatically? We will talk about formulas in some other class, but for the sake of this class, since we are under the tab, under the home tab, let's just do a little on AutoSum. Now, to AutoSum simply means sum automatically. So you can highlight areas you need to sum up. Let's say you want to sum up first test, second test, and then exam. Now you go to editing under AutoSum, just click on it. However, there are other features you can do here. So, but what we want to do is just sum. So just click on AutoSum, and it will automatically add up these 3 columns and give you the answers here. Okay, now after it has given you the answers, the next thing is how do you calculate for the others automatically without having to go over the process one after the other. Now that brings us to the next thing, which is fill. So having gotten 63 as the sum, I will highlight the areas that I want to automatically fill up instead of carrying out these formulas or this process one after the other. Then go to editing, click on fill, and then do fill down. Good. You see that the computer has automatically done the calculations for the others and giving me the answers without me going through the process of highlighting, going to editing, clicking on AutoSum again. So the computer will do that automatically for me. And that's one of the ways you can use the fill. The other way you can use the fill is when I did that of the date. Now you saw that after entering, for example, let's make this column a date column, a long date column, and I type 1/6/2020, and it gives me June 20. Now, if I wanted to follow serially to give me the dates of the others, I can simply highlight this, okay, then go to the editing, click on fill, and then go to series. Good. Now click on trend, go to series, click on trend, and then okay. Now you see that it will give me that of second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So this is one of the ways you can use the fill, and this is also one of the ways you can use the fill. Okay, now the next thing is to clear. Clear is simple. Just highlight the areas you need to remove and then click on clear. So you can clear all the content, you can clear just the formatting you have done there and various things. So if I say clear all, that's it. It has removed all the content of the selected cells. Okay, now the next thing is sort and filter. Sort and filter. Okay, now how do I use this function? Say for example, I am on the total column, that's column E, and I want to sort it alphabetically. That is, okay, we don't have alphabet here. Let's say I want to sort it from the highest person to the lowest person. I'll simply click on one of the values there, go to editing, under sort I will use smallest to largest or largest to smallest, or from A to Z or from Z. So what I want is from the largest score. So I'll simply say largest to smallest. Click on it and the cells are rearranged so that the person with 76 is on top and the person with 63 is at the bottom. So that's one of the ways. Now I can also decide to do it the opposite, the other way around, where you have the smallest to largest and you see the smallest person is on top and the largest person is under. Okay, now we can also do what you call the filter. The filter. Now how do you use filter? I'll give you an example of how you can use filter. You can click on filter while you have selected the row or the column. You can click on edit and then click on filter. Now you see something that looks like a drop down on all of this. Now let's say I want those who got 71. I want to see those who got only 71 only. So you want to filter, you want to remove something, you want to set a particular criteria. I want only those who got 70 and above to appear on my screen. So I'll simply go to filter and then I have the boxes here, so I can simply remove all those, select only those who got 70 and above. You see that those who have 60, I'm not interested in that, so just 70 and above. Now click on OK. You see what happens. So the computer filters, removes some of the unrequired and presents you with just the required. So that is what you do when you talk about filter. Now, if you don't want to do that and you want to, okay, I want to see only those who got 55 on this, simply go there, remove the rest and select 55. I want to see only those who got 55 and that's it, to display the scores. 55 in the exam, you see that. Okay, now you can also use a kind of command like this, number filter. So you now say less than, or rather let's say greater than or equal to. So we can use greater than or equal to, and we'll now type in the values. Greater than or equal to, and we'll now say greater than or equal to 57. So you see it. It gives you the scores of those who got 57 and above. 57 and above. So these are some of the ways you can use the filter function, the sort function, the fill function, and the rest of them. All right, let's proceed to the last one there, find and replace. Find and replace. Now, assuming we have about 1,000 names here, and somebody says, I want you to find Precious for me. I want you to find Precious for me. Just Precious. I want to see Precious's performance this time. All you need to do, go to the sheet, use the keyboard shortcut key Ctrl F. You see it. Now I can simply then type Precious and click on it. You see, the computer has automatically taken me to Precious. Now if I don't want to see Precious and I want to see Daniel, see, it takes me straight to Daniel, and from there I'll be able to get whatever details. However, if I need to replace, I can simply still, using that function Ctrl F, I click on replace. After this is fine, this is replace, then type in what you want to replace and type in what you want to find and what you want to replace it with. Now you use that. Or while it's closed, you click on Ctrl H and it goes straight to replace. So let's say I want to replace Daniel with John. After typing Daniel here, I'll go to replace and then type in John. Now, let's say John, J in capital letter. Now I can either replace all, that is everywhere you find Daniel, replace it with John. Or I can be doing it one after the other. So I will find one person, replace, find the next person, replace, find the next person, replace. That's if I don't want to replace every of the Daniels here with John. So because I want to replace just this one, I'll simply find next, it appears just in one place, replace. So you see that Daniel here, let's do Ctrl Z, Ctrl H again. Now you see Daniel here, once I click on replace, will change from Daniel to John. Okay, so that's how you can use your find, quickly find or bring out records that you need, and if you need to replace them, that's how you replace. For example, John Bosco Samuel, after his exam, saw that he got 59, or rather let's say 58. John Bosco got 58, but it was recorded 50 for him. Now we want to change that. All you need to do is to click on Ctrl H and then under find what, you type in 50. Okay, let's use find first. 50. So find it, good. You have seen John Bosco 50. Now I want to replace that. So I'll simply go, he got 58 and what was recorded was 50. So I'll simply type 58 and then replace it. So you see, that's how, and his score has automatically changed. Now let's go back so that you see that again. See his score before 60, Ctrl H. His total score was 64, or is presently 64, and by the time we replace it with 58, his real score, see what happens. 72, it has automatically recalculated itself. So that's some of the functions you can perform on the home tab. I think that's where we'll call it a day for today. I'm sure you have learned one or two things. By constant practice, you should be able to do better. These were the objectives we hope to achieve, and I'm sure those who started this class and have ended it well should be able to do this following. You should be able to copy with Ctrl C, cut with Ctrl X, paste with Ctrl V. You should be able to adjust your font from Time New Roman to Impact if you like. You should be able to increase your size from 14 to 18. You should be able to change your font color and fill color by knowing that font color is the color of the characters, while fill color is like the color of the background. You have the borders, which is the outline, the edges of your cell. You have the alignment, which tells the text to either be at the center, at the top, slanting, and otherwise. You have your number format, where we said a cell can be formatted using only dates, using currencies, using text, using various things. various number formats. We also talked about cell formats, which gives it a kind of bounce, a kind of design or style to your cells. Now we talked about how to insert, how to delete cells, rows, columns, and sheets. We went further to also discuss this formatting of cells when we adjusted the width, the height, and we saw protection. However, we'll do that in some other class. We talked about the AutoSum function, the fill to fill up your other cells after you have done one of the calculations. Instead of typing the formulas for all the cells, you just do a fill up, or using the fill up for dates and all others, even serial numbers. We also talked about clearing, sorting, getting your records arranged either from A to Z, from Z to A, from largest to smallest number, or from smallest to largest number. And we talked about filter, which has to do with removing the non-required and showing just the required. We talked about find and replace, and that's how you get records faster and easily. And if there is need for it to be replaced, you can also replace it. That's the much we did for today. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm sure you learned one or two things. Have a wonderful day. Bye.